Tonight, on The Boat Show, Joel hits the jackpot with a pass to the 2012 Australian Fishing Trade Association show to bring you a sneak peek at what's new for all things fishing here in Australia. We head out with Ken, Adam and game fishing's very own Peter Pakula, out in search for Black Marlin on the Gold Coast. We talk with Matt from John Crawford Marine in a special boat-type segment, and Chris talks to us about owning the Dream Family Runabout and what you can do to make sure it's covered. And we also catch up with the Brisbane Water Police for another safety message. But right now, let's head to the Gold Coast Convention Centre to meet up with Joel and gain access to this private after trade show event.
Unbelievable. This stuff just blows me away. We're here at one of Australia's largest fishing and tackle show with the TT Lewis, just hanging out, checking out some of their great stuff. I can sit here all day just looking at these lures just going around and around, but of course I have to do my job. I've got my pass. Now in saying that, I am a special guest coming in here today. The public can't come in here to check out all this stuff. Only me to show you guys, as well as all the trade guys as well. We're going to meet up with a few of them today. Hopefully they're going to sell us some of their amazing stuff, from the rods to the reels and all the other good stuff to go with it as well. As we're strolling through checking out some of these great stalls, I'm pretty sure you can guess where we are right now. Yes, I'm not even going to say it. Right there, that's how it's put. Perfect sign. And of course, I've got Brett next to me. G'day, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Good.
Mate, I'm so excited right now. There is just rods and reels and so much good stuff around this show. I guess the best bet, maybe we can venture over that way and venture into the reels and you can tell me a little bit about them. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
All right, fantastic. Now, as we mentioned before, we're going to come in here and check out some of these reels. Fire away some of the beauties.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, we're the market leader in fishing reels in the world, and every year we get some very exciting product. This year, this is the new Stella SW, or saltwater version, in the 4,000 size. We've had these in the large reels before, things that you can catch these beauties with, but they've come down in size, and this actually won best reel of the show last night at the awards.
Okay.
So it's a great thing to come to such a big show with such quality product and come away with reel of the show. That's sort of the holy grail. The best reel and the best rod, they're the ones you really want to get.
That's what you aim. That's just kind of like the target. That's what you want,
it.
you know?
That's
like the Oscar of
it.
the reels.
That's right.
All right.
It.
So I'm looking at that and just going, it looks phenomenal as well.
Yes.
Run us through it a little bit and kind of explain what makes it clearly being the best reel.
Basically just, it's the way it's engineered, it's the amount of ball bearings within the reel, it's the materials that it's made from, and basically it's a very, very smooth reel when you use it. It's a very powerful reel, and as I said, it's the materials it's made of. It's aircraft aluminium, 13 ball bearing reel, extremely smooth, very expensive, but it's worth every cent.
Yeah, of course. So like you said, so that size there, would I say you would catch something like this?
No.
So you've got to obviously go a bigger reel, something like that. That's how it kind of works.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
All
so a larger reel, heavier rod, more line capacity. This reel here is just for your medium style fishing, your medium sized fish, not your real small ones, not your real big ones, just your medium sized fish. Okay, so as I scan along, looking along, there's so many reels around.
Yeah. I guess for everyone at home, what do you kind of look for when you come shopping for a reel? Like if you were to walk into a shop and it was set up just like this, obviously, at the end of the day, you obviously might have a price tag as well. Yeah. But if you don't and you're just looking for something, what breaks them up?
I think, at the minute, we're very, very fortunate because there are very good quality reels at very respectable prices. Before in the early days, to get performance, you had to pay the big dollars. These days, in rods and reels, that's out the window. There's some really good stuff and there's something for everybody. But, a reel of about this size, generally the reels go 1,000 or 1,500. That's the size, I guess, donation, and then it goes 2,500, there's 3,000s, 4,000s, 5,000s, 6,000s, and they go up in size. But usually those reels between 2,500 and 4,000, that's a really good general all-round size. You can do a lot of fishing with that style of reel. And whether you're fishing with bait or whether you're fishing with lures, it's up to you what you want. If you're using it off the beach, you know, you might want to go with possibly a lower end reel. You know, it cops the abuse out on the beach. Where, you know, if you're in a boat and you are fishing, you know, every second day or every weekend, well then you might want to spend just a little bit more and have something that's going to, you know, have a lot of longevity and have high performance like every single weekend.
Yeah.
That's right.
So to explain it to everyone at home with your rod and your reel kind of side of it now. You know, I look through here and there's just some massive rods, skinny rods, thin rods, flimsy ones, you know. What are we looking for, I guess, someone like myself who's doing maybe a little bit of beach fishing? If you're lucky, I might jump in on mate's tinny or something, might go out there and maybe try to catch a flatty or something like that. Is there an average kind of range or...?
Yeah, look, there is. I mean, a 7-foot rod, in that range, there's so many rods to choose from. It's extremely popular. You know, one that's not too light, you know, so you can use it for some heavier things. You know, just that medium-sized spin rod, once again with a 2500 or 4000 size reel. It just does so many things. You know, you can fish out of a boat, off the rocks, off the shore. You know, you can do everything with that sort of.
So it's not limited. You know what I mean? You're not limited in that area, which is great.
That's right. You can get a very small little, so like a small 1000 size reel on a little 6'6" rod that's very light and you use light line. That's going to restrict you when you go to fish off the rocks, or you want to use a heavier lure or a heavier sinker with your bait. That's why you can sort of go down if you want, but you can always go up. When we're talking about a range of rods, for just the average fisherman, well, this year we've really tried to cater to that. I mean, I mentioned lures a lot, I mentioned a little bit of bait. And within this series of rods, there is a bait lot and there is also a lure range within the same range itself.
Okay.
And once again, one of our main advantages and one of the things that we love to do is design rods, I guess, for Aussies and for every level of angling, you know, whether it be a kid or, you know, whatever, we have it all here. And we've even got some rods here, you know, I guess like this little fella here. It's only a short little light rod. Suits that little 1000 size, 2.5 size at the most, very, very well, but it's got a really short butt. So it's great for guys who are sitting in kayaks and canoes and it doesn't get caught on their shirt. So it goes right down to that sort of thing.
So exactly what we're talking about, you know, underneath those jetties and everything like that, just kind of flicking in there, those tight spots, doesn't get all tangled up.
Because as you would have seen, you know, like walking around the show, the kayak and canoe side of fishing at the moment is just exploding. So, you know, you've got little attachments here where guys put these little retractable lanyards onto their kayak and so they don't lose their outfit over the side, and all this sort of things really coming in it, like full on customised for what our guys do. And you know we've got a lot of guys that like things like these rods here. You know, a lot of bait fishermen. You know, it's got a nice white tip on the end of it so they can see any bites, and you know they'll have a rod just set, all that sort of thing. You know, that we have that opportunity these days to, with the technology and with the factories and the suppliers that we have, we can come out with rods that are, you know, not only suitable for the job, but these guys don't have to pay $1 million anymore. That's the best part about it. Like when I first started, to get a really good outfit with good performance, you had to pay the top dollar. These days, you don't have to do it.
Okay.
And it's all out there. Like there are quite a few, like a dozen rods or more in this series, but there is one for pretty much, you know, all types of river and estuary fishing. So
yeah. It has been a tough one walking around the trade show, checking out some great stuff, but I can't go past my old mate Ken sitting next to me. G'day mate, how are you?
Good, Joel, yourself?
Very well. Now, you might recognise Ken from the previous show that he's been on. We went out and caught ourselves some tuna. It was very exciting. We got out there on the open water on his little boat, zooming around. It was a beautiful day as well. Now, in saying that, the tuna we caught was roughly around the same size as this. Give or take, you know, so it wasn't huge, but, you know, I thought it was a good size. In saying that, if I'm going to throw that in the water as a lure, imagine what I'm going to catch with this. Ken, explain it to me, mate. What am I going to catch with something this big?
No worries. Well, here at the After Tackle Show, the trade show, I'm here helping out Peter Pakula for Pakula Lures, the stand that we're sitting on at the moment. And obviously Pakula's a very well-known brand in game fishing lures, and I've been fishing with him last season. This is like my first 12 months, I guess you'd say, fishing with him. And instead of catching little tuna, we've been catching big tuna and marlin. So my personal biggest marlin's, 650 pound.
How's that all?
And that was on a very similar lure to this. And to see that fish jump out the water, it was just amazing. Like, You wouldn't think you could stand up and hold a fish back with that, but with the techniques that he's told us and the lures and the way they work and the drag and how you set it all up, it works, makes it easy.
Okay, so run through it a little bit for me. Like, what do I do? I can't just throw this on a little rod or something like that. There has to be a serious rod for starters.
Yeah, depending on the people, what they want to do. You got light tackle sort of guys will go out using 15 kilo line, and some guys go to the heavy tackle side of things, which is obviously when you use the bigger lures in the 24 kilo, 37 kilo, all that sort of gear. Depending on what the season's like, there's a little Black Marlin are starting to show up here on the Gold Coast at the moment, so you can get out there and say with lures this sort of size here. Whereas the big blue marlin are out there, you'll start to get into the sort of 10, 12 inch lures like that instead. But Pete's also brought out a few new things lately with the new hot head jets. Instead of just the normal ones which you'll see have a cup face on it, which still work supremely and have been working well for decades now. Yeah. But these jets really push out another huge bubble trail behind it. Because it's amazing, a lot of people think you need to try and hide from the fish, and you need to hide sinkers, you need to hide line knots and all that sort of stuff, whereas with marlin fishing you seem to be trying to make as much disturbance in the water as possible.
Get them excited.
Correct. So the way he's designed it, each of the lures got a sort of different position behind the boat where it should be in the sort of 5 lure spread that you might put out. You might have one for the short corner, long rigger, short rigger, and a shotgun right out the back. So we would normally run, say, these lures in closer to the boat, and then right down to the smaller lures right out the back. Yep. They're surprised how big a fish you'd catch even on that sort of thing.
I was going to say, if I was a big fish out there just cruising around behind your boat, I'd probably target something like this as opposed to something like that.
I tell you what, if I was a fish, I wouldn't get past juvenile stage. I'd eat these lures in no time.
You'd be gone. All right, so run us through how they really work. So we can explain to them, because at the moment I'm looking at this going, it looks good, but I can't imagine what it'd be like in the water.
Yeah. So what happens is the hooks like these here will sit inside the actual lure. So you have, say, a twin shackle rig like this. The skirt itself, if I get that on there, hope you can see that there on the camera, but there's the lure itself, and the hooks will sit in here, and you have your actual trace line coming out through this red hole here on the end. That'll go up to your main line, and then once the actual fish, that will swim through the water, bumping up and down as it's meant to, and then once the fish hits it, it grabs those hooks and takes off, and that will actually slide up the line, right up to the sort of snap swivel or the knot, whatever you've got done on there. Yeah. So the fish is doing this, and even the face of that lure itself, when it's dragging through the water, creates drag to help you catch that fish or to slow him down and tire him out, sort of thing. So that's the main idea, and those shackles there is what all the sort of the point of it's done.
So that's it. Yeah. That's literally what we call the pointy end of it.
Pointy end of it.
There we go.
The twin pointy end of it.
And I'm looking around. There's a lot of colours and stuff. That it doesn't really matter what colour it is. Is it really just trying to attract it, like you were saying before? Yeah.
Well, if you get onto Pakula's website, he's got a really good site that's got you can talk to him yourself if you're lucky, if he's around all the time.
Yeah, we'll try and find him.
Yeah. Definitely. And he'll actually go through with the best sort of colours that you can use for the fish that you're targeting. You'll have actual, like a Pakula colour scheme, I guess you would say. So the best colours for the short, long corners and all that sort of stuff. Whereas if you say in winter time you might be trolling for tuna, you might want to use some of his new colours like this one here, or can you pass me the new squid colours, please?
Got a couple of squids.
There you go. So that's like a new one there. Looks like a new squid sort of colour instead. So guys down south, Victoria and that sort of stuff are really loving the colour on that lure there.
Yeah, and we were talking about some of these great colours when it comes to these lures, but in saying that, you might have thought, you're looking over there, that there was a disco going on here. Yes, we have the UV lights. Ken, explain to me, I didn't think we were at a disco party here.
I've got to stand up to show
you. Yeah, for sure. Show me, let's get excited.
So anyway, the UV additive itself, as we call it, UV2 additive, does to us here look really appealing, so everyone here is going to like the look of that. If I turn the lights off, actually, let's have a look. See what it looks like. Still nice colours.
Still pretty groovy.
Chuck that back on, it looks like the places you hang out, It's pretty bright. So
I didn't tell you about those. That's all right.
And so the UV2 additive, it's not something that we really sort of notice ourselves, but for the fish, it does make it a little bit easier for them to find the lure in amongst all that bubble trail and stuff that we're talking about. So every factor that you can get into a lure to try and get that fish to see it from a further distance, it's going to help you get more fish in it.
All right. So best way to be able to get your hands on one of these, is there a website or is there somewhere where we can go and check it out?
Yeah, you can jump onto Pakula's website itself, or even your local tackle store. If they don't have Pakula, they probably should.
Yeah.
If they don't, maybe we need to find one that does.
Maybe we'll tell them to call you guys and sort something out.
Yeah, for sure. If you get onto Pete's website and talk to him, he'll tell you the best pro store in the area to go see. So
there you go. Well, I know we're catching up with you in a couple of weeks, mate. Maybe we'll go back out there for a bit of tuna fishing. We'll see if we can
maybe find your little Black Marlin or something.
We might be able to throw on one of these. If I don't catch anything, at least I'll think I've caught something big on the end of it.
We might even drag Peter out with us.
That's it. Beautiful. Thanks, Ken, mate.
More of The Boat Show after this.